All right, requested videos here on the 15th. Start off with advanced auto parts. So I have this labeled as a fourth wave. That's what I originally thought was going to happen. It came up pretty high. It got a pretty big bounce here, back to the 0.38 fib. However, this is a very corrective move. And right now on the daily, though, it's not bad. It's pretty neutral. So obviously, invalidation is going to be above this right here, 48.98. I think that's the top, somewhere around 49 bucks. If it breaks above that, then this is invalidated for the move down. But for right now, look at the weekly time frame. It's below all moving averages still. It actually finished right below the 20 SMA. And so I still think that there is likely one more move down. Kind of like that, maybe into like March or April, to fill this final gap down here at 32 bucks. So I think that on the shorter term time frame, though, you should be able to get a retracement. So the first spot that I'd be looking at on shorter term time frame, it actually broke below this. Let's see here. I would be looking at potentially it comes all the way down here to 40 bucks. That's the first demand zone that I see. Get rid of this. So if that were to happen, let's just see if that makes a lot of sense. That could make a lot of sense, or it ends up going like this. Let's go down to like the hourly. Yeah, I don't really like this on the shorter term time frame either. So I think you're probably looking at a little bit more downside, but I think eventually it's going to retrace. So whether it comes down here, it's going to retrace probably into January. And then I'd be looking for a move down here for 5 waves. So right now you're looking at, let's just say that was the bottom. You're looking at a minimum of, well, that would only take you to about probably 35 bucks, which is not below here. So it's probably going to come down lower on this wave, I would think. Retrace. Anyway, my target would be down here in the low 30s for a wave 5. Invalidation is above 49 bucks. So yeah, if you got into this play when I talked about it back at 36, 37 bucks, you could have made 40% if you held all the way up here to 49 bucks, like 30%. So it's been a pretty good play so far, but it does seem like this is more likely to come down here and finish a 5th wave. But it's not one of those ones where you want to be super bearish. If you're long, I wouldn't be like selling your position just because you're afraid it's going to come out here 32 bucks. I would just be holding, potentially adding up here, maybe selling covered calls, protective puts, whatever. Because this has way more upside than it does downside. SERV, I had a question about this. I would say this is not in a 4th wave. I think this is one move right here. This only took 2 months. It's been consolidating now for like 5 months. Do I think it's going to go lower? If it does come lower, you have a gap down here. I don't think it's going to hit that gap, but it is around the 0.78 fib. Maybe eventually it does come down here and fill the gap. I don't know much about the company. The 1.61 fib is right around that gap though. So it doesn't look like a breakout to me, but with how the market's going, I wouldn't be surprised if this went higher like that. And then eventually came down to finish off this move. I think that this is A or 1, and you're looking at B or 2. It's actually pretty similar to SOUN. in that it could go higher. It's above all the moving averages. There's no reason why it couldn't go like this and break the high, but I think eventually it's going to come back down here. I don't think it's going to make another huge move higher. But on the daily, it's above all moving averages. On the weekly, it's above the one moving average that actually shows up, which is the 20 on the weekly. So it's not bearish right now. It's actually pretty bullish. But if it breaks below $9, I would say that it's bearish again. So right now, I'd probably stay long, and I'd be watching the moving averages. You're probably in a B or a second wave. HRSY. This one looks like it's pretty much finished off 5 waves to me. However, it did have a spike and it came down here. I'm not sure if they had earnings or whatnot, but that's a pretty big drop. Overall, though, I would say it's likely finished with 5 waves down. So now you're looking at a retracement. Potentially down here, up here to 240. That's around the 0.78 fib. On the weekly, it is pretty far up here. Let's look at the monthly. You can do that on the monthly here. On the monthly, you can see here it's at the bottom of the range. So I think it's a pretty good long here, actually. You're at the bottom of the range. You have a gap up here at 240. I don't see gaps below. You are below these moving averages, though, with support at 113. I don't know what the news was on the stock, so I can't tell you exactly if I'm bearish or bullish off of that. But you're at the bottom of the range. I don't think it's going to come all the way down here to this moving average. Usually on the monthly, it's a pretty good tell that you're going to bounce back up here to at least the mean standard deviation around like 220, 230. So you have a gap up here. I'd be looking for that gap around 240. And so again, it's one of those ones where it's not super bullish, but it shouldn't be bearish anymore. You have a 5-wave move down, the bottom of the range. I'd probably hold on to it, and I'd probably be looking for a retracement, potentially back up here to 240. The long-term chart, I don't really like this move down, though. It's probably starting a retracement that could go very deep because, I mean, this has been straight up since it came into IPO in 68. And it topped out in 2023, it looks like. Yeah, 2023. And you're getting an impulse down from the top all the way down to 183. I would say this is already in corrective mode. So even if you get a move down here, you're probably going to get something down here afterwards. I don't think it's going to go straight to new highs. So I'd be looking for a bounce back up here, 200 to 240 to probably sell. While we're at it, let's go over BA. I sold all my options on this. Why did I sell? My plan the whole time was to sell around 170. I held them for a while. I was down for a month or two. I got in the green. I made my money, and I sold right here. It is currently right into a supply zone below the 200 DMA. On the weekly, it doesn't look bad, but you're also in a weekly supply zone. So I'm expecting to get a reaction to the downside from here. I don't think it will pass 175. I think that this is likely to pull back. It looks like 5 waves to me. So I'm looking for a pullback probably to like 150. If we look at demand zones, then we got to go to the 3-day. Let's see if we get any good demand zones. There's actually not very many good demand zones. So maybe look right here at like 158. I would say maybe down here at 166, then 158. But if we just look at retracement wise, This could be a quick retracement though, to be honest, because I saw something in January for higher, like 180. So maybe this will actually end up being a extension. We'll see. But for right now, it's in a weekly supply zone, so I'm going to wait for some kind of reaction out of here to the downside, and then maybe reevaluate and maybe rebuy my calls for another move higher. It only needs to hit this zone one time, and then it can come down here and break through it. So that's my thoughts on Boeing. What else we got here? Uber, I did a video on that. Mara, I'm bullish on this week. SMCI, it was down after hours. They got delisted from the S&P. Still holding my shares. I actually should have sold right here, to be honest, and I wasn't on top of it. But I only own 200 shares now, and I'm hedging those, so it's not that big of a deal. There is a gap down here at 32 bucks. I think it's going at least there before it bounces. So then you're going to see something like this week, and then bounce back like that. And then probably something down here before you get a bigger move higher. So SMCI is bearish short term, but I'm bullish on it long term. Symbiotic, I'm just buying. Zim, nice move higher, still holding my shares. Just basically looking for something like this. And then I'm looking for a sell down here. And I think this will probably happen by January. I think this can go to 26 or 27 bucks. AMD, did a video on this. Maybe I did this on Friday. I said 125, it hit 125. I have 275 shares now. I think it's ready to bounce. And where do I think it's going to bounce to? I think 150 is a very good spot for a bounce, but you have a supply zone at 157. 157 is just as likely. I still think that this is going to bounce up here and then make another low. Probably into like, although that is a pretty big sell-off, maybe it doesn't go that low. Maybe down here to like 110 to 115. It still has negative GEX. And so let's just see if it goes to 157. So yeah, 157 and probably like 110. And that's completely fine too. That would just be, it would still be WXY. It just wouldn't come all the way down here to the level I said about 90 bucks. Got to be careful with the VIX. It's really low right now. I think it's probably going to hold off for another week, but we'll see. Green Thumb, I said I bought that in the last video. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I wanted to go over the requested videos and a few other ones. Let's see what happens. Actually, let me go over QQQ one more time. So I've gone over this and said that this is a 5-wave move, and look where it's at right now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's zoom in here. And then this is kind of weird. I think that this might have already topped out, but we'll see. 537 would be my target if it goes higher. Let's zoom in here a little bit farther. Maybe this week it runs. I think I saw around some positive GEX for this week. If it does run, it's some kind of weird move, or it's topped out. It could end up going like this, similar to the last correction. Let's look at the last correction. So on this one, we got a move down, and then we just chopped up here, and then eventually, boom, down. So what do we have here? We have a move down. And now maybe we just chop like this and then get a move down or something later in December. maybe into early January, down to 517, and then we run like that up to 560 and make like an 8% move over a month. So I think that 560 is definitely possible by the end of January, but I think we're going to get a dump down here to 517 first. Anyway, that's it for this video. Actually, I'm going to make this video public because I didn't really give very in-depth GEX levels and like that on the stocks I went over. But I did do the requested videos. So take a look at those and let me know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe for more updates, and I'll catch you in the next video.